Okay, so hello. In this video, I will be talking about animal style Kung Fu. Now, animal style Kung Fu is not what you would expect, okay? For instance, using the claws. There are certain types of animal styles that you have certain movements that can be used. For the majority, though, the animal styles is merely this style. Okay, it's not about I actually go and fight like that. It's about in my mind what am I imagining as my form. What do I mean by this? Okay. So if you watch people fight on MMA, everybody fights slightly different, and it's not just because their moves are different in terms of their arsenal has different oil, right? It has different technique because they have their own style, they have their own body. Okay, it's not just because of that, but also mentally, there's certain ways certain fighters like to fight. The whole idea behind animal style is I'm gonna imagine a certain type of mentality, and that mentality is what is called tiger style and crane style and snake style and mantis style. But really, all it is a mentality that you take with you when you train and you take with you when you fight. Because old days, come on, I guess you can have animal style sword, but what would that? The thing is, it's more of a behind the scenes, right? You still have the same body, you still have the same blows, right? Because if I really want to fight in terms of winning wars, wars are not won with fist to fist. You get what I'm saying? Like back in the old days, wars were won with weapons, but they're probably, at least from what I believe, where you actually used your punching stuff and kicking stuff, that was in self-defense, number one. And number two, that was in competitions, just like today, where there are rules as to what you can do and what you can't do. Of course, if I'm fighting with the sword, do I want to rake his face and just, scratch his face sometimes or try to stick my finger in his eye? Of course. But you have a sword, right? You have a sword, you have a two-pronged spear, you have swords, you have spears, you have arrows. That's where war is waged from. You don't use fighting like in war, right? You use the IQ from fighting. That's why you fight partially, right? You do fight for the IQ, and you do have to know some basic fighting in order to be proficient in the army. But most of the time, you're not using fighting to actively wage war. You wage war using weapons, using arrows. And so it's just most of the time, from what you can just try to imagine, like how would it be, and obviously it's just for competitions, right? So if my country fight another country, maybe I wage war, maybe sometimes I just put forward, people to fight. So from this, you have to really understand, because I think more important than anything is understanding what, this Kung Fu stuff is. A lot of people, they don't understand. They think, oh, okay, so I'm gonna fight like a tiger, I'm gonna go, whoa. But do you realize that if you take tiger style and you take the moves from tiger style, it's really bad for you? For instance, if I hold my hands like a claw and I fight using this way, I cannot push forward because my fingers will get damaged. I cannot scratch really hard because my fingers will get damaged or wrist will get damaged. The whole idea of fighting using tiger style is wrong. You don't fight like this. But what you do is you do these forms to get what is called ganje, which is feeling. you feeling of the form, and then you use that feeling in fighting. So I think recently I saw a video online. That guy was pretty much using tiger style because he was using a lot of wall hooks, a lot of uppercuts, right? And actually, the most proficient user of what in the old day you would call tiger style, actually, probably, if you don't want to listen, it's fine, but I'm just gonna say it, if you believe it or not, is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's style is completely just tiger style. Because he had that tiger style mindset naturally. But if you don't have it naturally and you want to train it, or you want to train multiple styles so that you can switch between them, that's what it is. It's just a mentality, and you train with forms, and then you take the form feeling, you take that feeling onto weiqi, Chinese strategy game called weiqi, weiqi, and you fight there mentally in the same way that your form, is what it feels like. You transfer the feeling onto the chess game, and then you play that way. That teaches you to think actively in that way, and then you slowly spar in that way, and you slowly hit the bag. You hit the bag in the style that fits your style. If I'm doing tiger style, I go big hooks, boom, 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 big hooks, strong jabs, boom, boom, boom. So see, I lost me. I'm not a boxer, but that's what you do. Don't think that everything is gonna be magic kung fu out of nowhere, and you're gonna one day become super. There are things. Okay, drunken kung fu is an exception, but even drunken kung fu is very. If you really understand what drunken kung fu is, it's not a big, big boom, big boom. It's a very small. Just even when you step back and you just turn a little bit, when you step forward and just turn, go off balance for a little bit. That itself is enough. At the highest level, everything is really fine details. Every single thing on TV that you see a drunken golf with, like that big. No, there's no that big. It's just a tiny bit of a, off balance. I'm gonna go off balance, boom, off balance, boom. See, off balance, boom. See that? So it's really a small detail, It's a very small detail. Everything is. Same thing with tiger style. You're not gonna go out there with your hands down. That's a strategy, but that's not tiger style. Tiger style is just look at Mike Tyson was in this world so that you can see tiger style. Okay? The way that he fights is exactly like a tiger. His mentality is naturally. If you want to do crane style, you gotta do the forms first, because you have to understand what it means to be that animal, right? And you gotta imagine when you do the forms. The forms are not there for you to practice fighting. They're not katas. Katas are what is found in karate to train your fighting form and stuff. You're fighting sequence, right? But for Kung Fu, when you practice the forms, they're not there for you they're there for you to get a feeling of what do you think it means to be a tiger, and you practice the form because, and slowly you have this basic imagination, and you're moving the whole time, so you're kind of dancing, and you have this imagination, and then you go play chess, and you apply that, and you make it until you can think and fight. And then, so even things like, badminton and basketball, when you think about, can I shift those things across to basketball and badminton? Of course you can, but it's not going to be noticeable, right? When you do these things, most of the time you can't notice it. Because in the old days, they're not doing this to prove that Kung Fu is real. They're just doing this to fight. Obviously, it's not noticeable. Like if I play badminton with tiger style, all you're gonna see is I'm gonna be more aggressive. I'm gonna smash more. I'm gonna do aggressive moves more. If I think about it in my mind, I'm switching to crane style. Crane style, I have more clears. I have more drops. So those are the two forms I usually use if I'm using forms. Sometimes it's too much thinking. I don't do it. Okay, but when I do it, I just play tiger and crane because those are the ones that fit me on the badminton court. Those are the ones that I think work for me on the badminton court. So they're just a very general introduction to animal style, which is pretty sufficient because it's not complicated, right? So you already have your forms. You go home, you find some sifu, he teaches you the forms, you learn the forms, then you go on computer and you practice weiqi. And you have to be proficient in weiqi. You practice weiqi, you think in the same way of your animal on the chessboard. Because the first step is using your mind to fight. You fight with your mind first and your body second. So you train your mind, not normal chess. Normal chess doesn't work. You have to use weiqi, Chinese chess. Not Chinese chess. There's two types of Chinese chess. This one, number one is just Chinese chess. Number two is Go, weiqi, baduk. Weiqi, weiqi, Go. It's the name in Japanese, and baduk, baduk. Go on that, you practice, and then you slowly start to spar, but you have to imagine that you're an animal. That doesn't sound appetizing, but that's what it is. You imagine that you are that animal and you spar with it. So again, I saw this guy on YouTube and he was doing tiger style because he was, the whole, I could see that the way he fought was inspired by a tiger. Now, some people naturally have it in them that they're a tiger or they're a crane, or it's just their personality is a lot like one of these animals. Like Mike Tyson, he bite people ear, he goes crazy, and some people are naturally more refined. They like crane. They have light forward. Yeah. I can't box, but yeah. So at the end of the day, it's very simple to actually know that there's no magic, kung fu where all these people they can go around and they fight. Just imagine, come on, and just have common sense. Okay, you cannot fight like this. Also, with your mantis, you cannot fight like this. Come on, you're gonna break your fingers. And what else? Monkey, how you gonna fight as monkey? There are certain types of kung fu. Alright, the animal style. Some people believe the animal style to be external kung fu. Actually, the animal style is internal. Alright, it's the style. But some kung fu is actually you use the strikes. Okay? For instance, some of the kung fu they have strikes like this. Boom. Like it's not even a jab, I don't know what it is, but they have like this boom. Right? So I'm not familiar with these, but Shaolin style, they have their kicks, they have their punches, they have their shoulders. Shaolin style is an external style that you fight with. Okay, you can do boxing, you can do Muay Thai. You always need an external style, okay, because you're not gonna go around attacking people with your claws. And it's like, if I'm gonna build a fighting machine, I need AI, right? What do I need to have in a fighting machine? Fighting machine, first of all, I need to have a control center. I need to have a brain or a mind. That's AI. So I train the AI. I train forms. I train weiqi. I train the AI. Now the AI knows how to fight. But I still have to give him moves. I cannot, the AI, which is representative of the internal kung fu, the AI cannot fight without moves, right? That's why you see all these, these Wing Chun people and They think they can fight. And Wing Chun is not a legit style of Kung Fu for fighting seriously. Okay, if you want to fight seriously, you learn Shaolin, you learn Muay Thai, you learn boxing. They have those. In certain other types of Kung Fu that are external, they're the moves that you're given. Right? You can't just fight using only the internal AI that you develop. The whole point is you can't fight using only the AI. You can't fight only using the moves. Okay, a lot of Kung Fu practitioners, they're kind of, practicing a certain external form of Kung Fu. They have the moves, they don't have the AI. They don't have the computer program, ingrained in their minds to how to fight. So when they fight, they don't know what they're doing and they get killed. So you have, of course, the other thing, which is the AI. And if you don't have moves for the AI, you're going to get beat up. Okay, so that's basically what I want to cover in this video about animal style. Again, it was developed once, it can be developed again. Even some things that I don't want to talk about, for instance, playing badminton for Kung Fu, right? There's a lot of different things that we do have now that you can actually use to train your Kung Fu capabilities. Like, you can train badminton and train basketball with the same idea that I just explained here, with going with the style, because every single time you practice using your AI to fight, no matter what it is, the AI gets smarter and the AI gets transferred from sport to sport, right? If I'm gonna train the AI with boxing, that's fine. But if I train it with badminton and basketball and boxing, and I can carry it over between the three, then I have a very good mind for using that style. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Thank you.